Well, it seems like an idea which is temptingly simple at first, but when you look at the details and the fact that when it was launched as an idea over the summer of this year, nobody talked about the details. What does it involve? Who should decide? Who should live on which side of the border? What about Serbs who live in Preševo? What about Serbs who live in central Kosovo? So there's lots of open questions, which I think put a lot of question marks behind that idea, besides the moral problems, the whole knock-on effects, the whole reasons why it might not be such a good idea. The practicalities seem daunting. Not to mention the fact that in the Kosovo, for example, the parliament, the opposition has blocked a decision of a border agreement with Montenegro, which was indefinitely, much simpler than any border changes with Serbia. So I think there's going to be a lot of opposition in Kosovo. There's lots of questions of citizens who might be affected who are not consulted. So I think besides the problems of such a border change, there are all kinds of difficulties, which I think will make it much harder to realize than it is to talk about it.
The idea of swapping territories will crash, or already has crashed, on two labels. The first label is Kosovo is heart of Serbia, so which part of heart you will be giving it away. And the second label is Kosovo is independent as it is, so which part of Kosovo will you give away to Serbia? That is the question that is not clearly resolved in offers, let's swap territories.
Not only that it's not realistic, but I'm one of the loudest opponents of that model that has been talked about by two presidents. I think it's irresponsible. I strongly believe it's an irresponsible way to lead the entire region into another chaos, and it's not going to normalize anything. It's not going to normalize relations of Kosovo and Serbia, and we will have another 2 decades of instability in the entire Western Balkans. I think our president in Kosovo doesn't even have the mandate to participate in this dialogue, because he needs an explicit authorization by the parliament, which he hasn't received, and he will not get it by our assembly. What we need to do is insist on unified transatlantic position. We need to have guiding principles for this process. There is no peace process without guiding principles. We must have, as far as Kosovo is concerned, internal political consensus and a platform and a team which will represent that consensus. So the way how things have been managed now are irresponsible, and first of all very irresponsible from High Representative Ms. Mogherini and her team. Very irresponsible towards the region. And we already see signs of instability in Macedonia and in Bosnia when one starts talking about adjusting of borders.
Well, I believe that far more important than the territorial exchange is how this decision is going to be made. If the decision has a full-fledged democratic legitimacy, meaning that the parliaments are involved, that the civil society is involved, that all the political parties, both position and opposition, are involved in a dialogue on the future of resolution of this question, then we are on a good track. If this democratic legitimacy lacks, there is no happy solution, I'm afraid.
I think that idea of changing borders sounds very simple and very easy to implement, in a sense that the idea is on one side you have majority of Albanian population, on the other side majority of Serbian population, then you exchange the municipalities, because in the heads and as an idea it sounds simple, but when it comes to implementation it's always difficult, it always is impossible to implement. And I think that because of that, it will not happen, because it requires when it comes to the implementation, it's very difficult, and I hope that we will not get to the point where we will move beyond discussing the idea to actually trying to implement the idea, because as we have seen in 1990s, It's when the idea is attempted to be transformed into reality is when the horror of wars and displacement starts.
For the moment, it looks like that option is, let's call it, I'm skeptical about it for the moment because it's been, facing internal opposition a lot in Kosovo. Externally, quite a lot of countries have objections to it. But I do not exclude the possibility they will come back as an issue in the next weeks or months as a sort of potential solution. Considering that there have been there's like still this impetus to have an agreement by the middle of next year, and considering that there has been no other alternatives have been sort of come forward as having sort of there's no plan B for now. The Brussels process, as it has continued until now, is kind of clinically dead in a way, with all these technical agreements kind of becoming hostage or becoming really dependent on a final political settlement. So those have taken the backstage. The way things look now is that I don't see how it will come back, but I have a feeling that the two leaders that have sort of proposed it will, together with potentially with support from international partners, might try to give it another push.